You're listening to Spring River Chronicle. Audio on the go.
2011 Rebel Classic, hosted by the Rebel Athletic Booster Club by E.B. Barnes.
First National Banking Company. Get checking that pays with Super Plus Checking at FNBC.
On Saturday, July 23rd, the Rebel Athletic Booster Club hosted the 2011 Rebel Classic at the Cherokee Village South Golf Course. The four-person scramble competition included 132 golfers and 33 teams who came out to play in the 2011 Rebel Classic. There were 3 flights within the tournament: a championship flight, a first flight, and a second flight. Each flight was grouped by the team's score, and as the tournament completed, final scores and results were presented to the golfers at the end of the day. The day started off early at 6:30 a.m. and at the Cherokee Village South Golf Course with a buffet breakfast. After each golfer received their fill on breakfast, playtime neared. At 8:30 a.m., the shotgun start began. Each of the 33 teams of 4 teed off at hole number 1 and then played the remaining 17 holes. A lunch break was taken midday. As the players finished lunch, the scramble started back up for the remaining holes to be completed. As the golfers waited for the final scores at the end of the day, hot dogs and burgers were provided, and the scores were then announced. The scores follow: championship flight, score of 58 to 63. First place, 58. Jerry and Virginia Morrow, Pete and Penny Reynolds. Second with 60, Adam Carter, John Sinclair, Andy Arnold, and Adam Nicholson. Third with 60, Fred Holzhauser, Rick Price, Willie Ramsey, and Mac Gaskin. Following that with 61 was John Kitrosh, Jeff Ryder, Adam Montgomery, and Ty Jones. With 61, Bruce Barker, James Blevins, J.W. Blevins, and John Kazee. With 62, Jack Lowe, Brant Goings, and Bob Bickle. With 63, Mike Robertson, Chris Simmons, Jeremy Wooldridge, and Kim Shepard. With 63, Dan Riga, Clay Wiggins, Tracy Webb, and David Webb. Again with 63, Tim Young, Alice Young, Kevin Young, and Holly Bell. With 64, Trevor Sellers, Derek Moser, Rob Westerman, and Luke Pruitt. That concluded the championship flight, and moving on to the first flight, score of 64 to 67. First place was 64, Dennis and Susan Telemeyer, Chris Mosley, Uriah Mead. Second was 64, Dave Keller, Pat LaFay, Charles Nichols, and Bill Wade. Third was 64, Ronnie Brogdon, Wendell Smith, Shane Smith, and Josh Bateman. With 64, Jason Fisher, Matt Vaughn, Brian Gooch, and Randy Lowe. With 64, Ross Carter, Rhett Carter, Steve Powell, and Noble McCord. With 65, Carl Toon, Gary Toon, Zach Boston, and Jonathan Clary. With 66, Paul Stovall, Dan Dennis, Joe Wagner, and Ernie Parker. With 66, Janetta Graham, Dick Ogden, Larry Bonds, Larry Bollinger. 66, John Hanson, Jeremy Hanson, Billy Smart, and Stu Smart. With 67, Sam Hill, Stuart Hill, Robert Roberts, and Eric Wallace. With 67, Don Wilkerson, Jimmy Jones, Larry Duncan, and Ron Patterson. And in the second flight, scores of 68 and up. First place was 68, Ronnie Duncan, Buddy Smith Jr., Ed Nicolai, and Brett Atkinson. Second was 68, Ed Schwartz, Rick Fowler, Mark Hawley, and John Shaver. Third was 69, Spencer Hill, Michael Stocking, Joey Fulgham, and Cody Bullock. With 69, Steve and Jackie Rorix, and Danny and Pat Sample. With 69, Brat and Leslie Gitz, Dr. John Allgood, and James Bragg. 70, Bob Evans, Daryl Carroll, Greg Pringer, and David Crazy Man Harris. 70, Dustin Foster, David Foster. 70, Dustin Foster, David Foster, Will Shortnessy, and Tara Shortnessy. 71, Peyton Edmondson, Will Edmondson, Garrett Sublett, and Eric Roberts. 72, Michael Hurt, Michael Hilton, John Jones, and Gene Fuller. 73, Matt Roberts, Dustin Denton, Michio Sanders, and Doug Smith. 73, Sonny Grishaber, Pat Robinson, Brent Watts, and Ken Guidry. With 82, Mike Rolson, John Dewey, Jim Dewey, and Roland Bogowski. For those of us who are unfamiliar with a 4-person scramble, it works like this. In a scramble, each player tees off on each hole. The best of the tee shots are selected, and all players play their second shots from the best spot position. The best of the second shots are determined, then all play their third shot from that spot, and so on until the ball is holed. And this is how the scores were tallied. The Highland Rebel Booster Club would like to thank each golfer that participated in the 2011 Rebel Classic, and especially the sponsors that ensured its success. Flight prize sponsors Simmons Bank and Iberia Bank, breakfast and lunch sponsors First Community Bank and FNBC, Hole in One sponsor Bad Boy Mowers, and course sponsor Liberty Bank of Arkansas. Thanks for listening to Spring River Chronicle Audio on the Go. Be sure to subscribe and check us out online at myspringriver.com.